Okay, in my last video, I also meant to say, along with not giving up on yourself, you also can not actually give up on your desires, because they're the reason you're here. Like, they're literally here for you to become the person you're meant to be and have those things. They are yours to have. That's why you have them, okay? You're literally here to have them on this physical plane, to have your desires. So anyway, I wanted to add that to my last video about not giving up on yourself, okay? So today we are talking about actually my personal story on self-concept, okay? Because, and I just hope this motivates some of you, because we all have a lot of the same issues developing from childhood, things that we need to get through so we can clear up our lives and start creating the lives that we really want, okay? So hopefully these kinds of stories help you. I'm not sure if they do. So if you like personal stories, I know I like them. When I know more about someone's story, I feel like I can relate to certain parts of it, or it actually helps me do a better job at doing my own, like working through my own stuff and actually, you know, working on my own self-concept. So here is my self-concept story, and it's going to be a quick run through, not obviously every detail, but I just wanted to be candid, and I have like nothing to hide. Basically, I felt like for a lot of my life I was ashamed of the things that I had to move through and like, you know, deal with. And it was only because I hadn't moved through them or gotten through them yet, you know. But from a confident place, I feel like I can talk about these things and not feel bad about them at all, just sort of share them in hopes that it helps someone else, right? So we'll just start in with it. So there were some things I had to, that I knew were affecting me, that I really needed to get clear on and to create new concepts about myself around, okay? And this has literally changed my life so drastically, and that's basically the only reason I'm sharing it, because it's so important to work on self-concept so that you can literally change every area of your life. So one of the main ones that I grew up with was being super conscientious about money. We had very little money growing up, so that was one thing that it also gave me a sense of like not good enough, if that makes sense. Like I've worked through these issues of not feeling good enough because I didn't have enough resources. Financially, my parents both worked. My mom was also in school growing up, so we definitely didn't have enough or very little resources, basically. And there was a joke in my family, like every time school was collecting cans, you know how we did like can drives for the homeless, whatever, my dad would always say, make sure they have our address, right? So it's like basically saying we're just as poor as them, like why are we giving them cans? Anyway, and I think people think that we were like middle class when I say we were poor, because they just can't imagine it sometimes. So we literally didn't have a bathroom inside. We had a bathroom outside, like basically like a porta potty, but it was called an outhouse, right? So it's like a little house you have to walk to, that's outside of your own house, that is where you go to the bathroom. So that's where we had our bathroom, like growing up. So yeah, we lived in a one room cabin, okay? So to give you an idea, so I definitely had a money consciousness that was not abundant, right? I was always scrimping and saving. I worked from age 11 on. I never didn't work. Like I was literally working my whole life. And also in college, I ate just like tuna fish sandwiches. I ate like really cheap food and just didn't, I really needed to change it. And I got to a breaking point where I needed to start treating myself better, start, you know, using some of my money, not just hoarding it, because I was literally just like money hoarding, right? I was hoarding money. And so I'm trying not to make this video too long, but anyway, so I was hoarding money and not eating anything nutritious, just trying to get by and just save all my money and not spend it on anything, you know. And so that was one area, a huge area that I needed to work on and totally transform it if I ever wanted to be rich, abundant, have a successful career, like do everything that I wanted to do. I mean, I was selling stationery to all of our neighbors at like age, I think I was like nine years old. Like I literally was so, and that's another thing, like I never wanted to be like, I never wanted to be without money, right? Like I was so money minded because we didn't have any, that I was like, oh gosh, it gave me drive to never be like that. But it also had some limitations with it, right? Like not eating good food, just always saving money, just not having an abundant mindset. So that was something I changed. So I had to have self-concept affirmations about money. And some of them were like, I'm abundant, you know, money loves me, I'm amazing with money, I can spend money and it comes back to me, I don't have to save it all, like I can spend it, I always have money coming in, so I can always freely spend it. Things like that really took me a while to get around that money concept where I didn't feel so in lack about money. Okay, so another thing that I had to fix or like get through and create affirmations about and self-concept about was not feeling good enough. I think because both of my parents were working all the time and I had other siblings, and just not feeling maybe like paid attention to or valued. So those were some of the ones I worked on, just self-value and loving myself and knowing my worth and value, and feeling like I didn't have to do a certain thing or behave a certain way to receive love, and that I was just lovable without having to do something, right? Because my parents, I feel like I had to do things to get love, right? Like, and we're all kind of conditioned that way, right? Like I had to clean the house, I had to do certain things, do the laundry, do dusting, do vacuuming, do like we you know, we never had anybody to do any of that stuff for us, so like the kids all did it. So it was like I felt like I had to do something to be loved, especially by my dad. I had to feel like I had to do something to be loved, and I still didn't feel very loved, honestly. And I don't say this to like, you know, bash my parents or anything, or to make you feel bad for me. It's more that I just want to help through this. And my parents already, you know, we've reconciled, and I know they were doing the best I could. But you know, my dad used to have an alcohol problem and he does not anymore. So that was another area that needed work. Like I never thought I was good enough for him because he was very, very critical, and there were a lot of things that he did not like that I did, and I just was trying to be the best. I was trying to just do everything right, you know. I was one of those really good kids. I also, because we didn't have enough money, or thought we didn't have enough, you know, I knew I wasn't going to go, or thought I wasn't going to go to college if I didn't make straight A's. So that was like one of my primary goals. I wanted to work all the time because I never wanted to be poor, and I wanted to get straight A's. So I literally got straight A's for my whole school career. Like, not joking, I got straight A's all through middle school, all through high school, all through college. Like, that's it. And I did end up getting a scholarship to the college that I went to for my grades, and also because we didn't have any money. So anyway, so it did work out, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to go to school if I didn't make straight A's. This was something that I did for myself. And my parents, there was no incentive. They were busy and it didn't bother them too much, or whatever. They didn't care that much about me getting straight A's. I mean, they liked it, and they were supportive in that way, but not like, it wasn't like something they made me do, is what I'm kind of saying. So those were three big ones. The last one I think I'll go into was, we were never told as kids, we were never told we were good looking. Like, my parents literally made a point of never saying it, because one, that was not their focus. My family was very science minded, and you know, anyway, I just didn't think that I was pretty in my whole life, because we were never told. None of us were told. Now that I have a better self-concept and understand all this stuff, I realize like my siblings are beautiful, like we're all beautiful, you know, people. So it was funny that we never got told that, but we just, it wasn't the focus. The focus was on, you know, I knew that I was funny. I knew that I was extremely intelligent. I knew that you know, so my confidence came from other areas, and I didn't really even mind that I wasn't, or didn't think I was attractive or beautiful or anything like that. It wasn't a big deal. I wasn't concerned with it. So that was something, just to be more comfortable in my skin, I worked on later, you know. And I will say one thing about that is not thinking I was pretty or beautiful or good looking at all kind of took the pressure off of it, because I was like, well, I just want to be a neuroscientist anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And with that kind of baseline, I never wanted to change anything about my appearance. So it kind of like took the pressure off that a lot of people, I feel like, feel. Not that it's good, like not that you should just inherently feel like you're ugly and that takes all the pressure off of being anything, because like it is nice to, like, you know, value that as well, you know. It's not like you just want to neglect that area, which you know, because I think it's just good to bring everything up to a certain level, right? Like you don't want to be like really thinking you just, you know, really lacking in some area, right? But it didn't bother me as much because I just wasn't focused on it, and it didn't feel like it was gonna do anything for me, because I wanted to be, you know, like a writer or a scientist or something like that. So I wasn't really focused on it, you know, that much. But it did, when I realized I had all these things to work on with my self-concept, it actually was an area that I did focus on a little bit, you know, like just telling myself affirmations about so that I just my looks, so that I didn't feel so crappy about them, right? It's just about feeling comfortable, basically. So I just say all this is because I've gotten through a lot of these, you know, a lot of them were things that I needed to say a lot of affirmations about with my self-concept, and these are some basic ones that I think that affect a lot of people, like the not feeling good enough one, the not being loved enough or not paid attention to as kids, and like maybe like not deserving or whatever. And it's just so important to remind yourself and to do self-concept so that you know you're worth what you're desiring, right? So that it helps with manifestation so much, because you can get to the place where you know you're worth it, you know your value, and you cannot accept anything less than what you actually want, okay? So it can help so much, and I hope this just gave you insight into how important self-concept is. And thumbs me up if you love it, and if you love Neville and Law of Assumption, stick around. I'd love to have you, and coaching details below, okay? Bye guys.